Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Johnny's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Johnny's Pharmacy, brand new website, www.johnny's.tm. It's your time to jump the line. Shop now at johnny's.tm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Johnny's.tm features rush delivery, 1 hour. In-store pickup, regular delivery, 5 p.m. Cut-off time, 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. Visit us at www.johnny's.tm. Johnny's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Woke up this morning feeling risky. I had been patients to call in sick, but I end up in Johnny's Pharmacy. And down in the street, Johnny's fix up my immune system. Me feeling fit and strong now. I'm ready to work and become any mission. If you see me forget, Johnny's Pharmacy is number one. Johnny's forget. We cater for everyone. Johnny's forget. The immune system. Johnny's forget. Yo, Dominic is the boy Father Box. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Johnny's Pharmacy. They boost me up real quick. Johnny's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
A pleasant good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. It is such a wonderful day here on the outside. Though we've seen some light showers, but in all things we give God thanks. It is a good day to have a good day. I do hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you're doing something good and you are indeed having an awesome day. To our regular listeners, we say a hearty good morning to you. To our retired folks who listen all the time, we say good morning to you. To our listeners from overseas, we say good morning to you. And we are online. My co-host, Trudy Christian, she normally will narrate, the medium that you can connect on us. Trudy's wearing what I call baby pink. And it's the kind of colors that you would want your little baby girl to have. So I don't know if Trudy's feeling very much like being a baby today, or she's trying to say to me she wants to be pampered today, but she's wearing those soft colors that really makes you feel like you want to hug her and you want to relax with her. So I'm trying to, maybe Trudy, are you trying to say that to me? Maybe she's trying to say that to me. Good morning, Trudy.
Wow. Carlton, good morning to you. Good morning to the listeners of Health Vibes right here on Q95 FM. It is indeed a nice day, a little cool because of the rain and, different days, different moods. Mm-hmm. So I guess today was the soft pink mood, Carlton, for me. And also, Carlton, it is the end of the school year for most educators. This is the time where you kind of climaxing, you're reaching that end. I see some educators are counting down to the end of the term. For us at the State College, it is summer school time, so the major term has ended. So I just want to say good morning to all the educators, the teachers who may be listening and who may have a chance to listen to us even more once that summer holiday kicks off. And also good morning to the students, especially of the Dominica State College, who are currently off and getting prepared for their graduation. So graduation season is coming up. So for the young people, this is an exciting time of year where they get to, I guess, celebrate their achievements. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So graduation, a lot of the high schools have graduations in this month, June. Mm-hmm. For the State College, we are in July. So it is the graduation fever is starting to pick up. Yes. So to the educators and the young people, good morning to you.
Mm-hmm. And again, yes, and we're always happy that, our young people are endeavoring to educate themselves and to make a mark and to think of your legacy. What legacy are you going to leave behind? Because we all know that we're not here forever, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we've made a very positive impact here on Earth. And so we say congratulations to you for, investing in yourself and advancing as well.
Mhm.
Advancing.
Mhm.
Trudy, just in conversation as well, I want to say congratulations to Natalie, our regular viewer. Natalie Simon? Is it
Yes.
Simon?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Natalie put out an amazing event last Saturday, the Resuscitate
Okay.
event for married couples and
Okay.
stuff. It was a
Okay.
black tie event, and guess who
At
won Best Male?
Intercontinental. Oh, Carlton, you got the best male, best dress male?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. So
Ah,
my wife and
boy.
I, that's actually how we started the birthday.
Okay.
But
Okay.
this was really, I mean, she did an awesome job. The decor, the ambiance, the presenters, the way people dress, people followed the dress code, the music, it was classy. It was
Okay.
something that you would definitely enjoy.
Okay.
So I'm looking
Okay.
forward to next year. Next year
So
is
it's meant to
actually
be an annual event.
yes, and I
Okay.
think it is also it's going to be on the events of the Festivals Commission,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so next year is going to be at Rosalie Bay for an entire weekend. So you'll
Okay.
have like hikes for couple, cook session for couples, and therapy and all kind of things.
Okay.
So
Okay.
next weekend I'm booking for the entire weekend.
Next year.
Yes, next year. But Natalie did an awesome job, and it was really good. Franklin was one of the hosts.
Host?
Yes, he
Okay.
did an awesome job.
Okay.
It was really, 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 really good. The food was very good too.
Okay.
I
Okay.
really enjoyed it. So
So that's how you kicked off your birthday
that's
celebration
it.
this
Yes,
weekend.
and the
Nice.
presenters from Trinidad. Oh my God, I could have listened to them for the entire night.
Okay.
They were just really, really, really good. Those presenters. So again, Natalie, congratulations! You did an awesome job.
Uh-huh.
That's my photo right there.
Okay.
Right, looking all
Nice.
dapper.
Yes.
Right, me and Madam. So it was a good event, and so I want to say when it's good, you
Say it's good.
It's good.
Yes.
Um,
Carlton, I see we have a birthday wish to someone from Jolly's.
oh yes, my colleague.
So our social media listeners, followers, Hazel Ann Anthony, one of our regulars, is saying happy birthday to Micah from Jolly's
Yes,
Pharmacy.
yes,
She
she
says
was-
that's her
yes.
lady at Jolly's.
Yeah, she's one of our technicians on King George Street.
King George V. Street.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so happy birthday to
Ah,
her.
yes,
And
Michael.
and of course, good morning to those of you who regularly join us on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel of Q95. I see Julie is on, and Hazel Ann and Martina Roy, who always jumps on as well. So good morning to our social media followers here on Health Vibes.
Definitely. And we want to really, thank you. Let me take the opportunity to thank the many, many people who, expressed happy birthday greetings to me, which was on Sunday, the 1st of June.
Mhm.
I know on Saturday during the math program, many people, expressed and sent happy birthday greetings to me. So
Nice.
thank you for all of the greetings that I received. They were well accepted, and I truly appreciate the sentiments that were expressed. Customer appreciation is in the month of July. July isn't far.
Right.
And so we want you to remember again our Customer Appreciation Week of activities. That is the third week of July. We kick off, and it will be a grand time this year. We have planned some amazing, new additions for our Customer Appreciation Week of activities. So remember, it is just around the budget week for the states. And so we want you to remember Customer Appreciation Week in the month of July. The month of July.
And Carlton, I know the Jollies, the family, the customers of Jollies can always look forward to good deals as well during Customer Appreciation
Definitely.
Week. So if you're one of those people that looks forward to sale and deals and specials, that's the time for you. That's the time for
And
you.
truly, you know that very well. You're always with us during that time.
Yes.
It's like you're working
Mhm.
along with me during that time because you have a lot of live broadcasts and all of that.
Yes.
So yeah, the deals are there. Let me say as well that this coming Friday, we'll be putting our co-worker to rest,
Mhm.
Naomi. This coming Friday at 10 o'clock is her funeral. It's going to be held at the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church. So if you know Naomi, you would have purchased from her. Maybe they'll be, do business with her as our sales rep for Roseau. Her funeral is this coming Friday at 10 a.m. That is 10 a.m. It's in the morning at the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church. Viewing begins at 9:30, so it's 30 minutes of viewing, and then the funeral starts at 10 o'clock. We are hoping that it will be. We know that it's going to be a good send off. We pray that our staff will be able to, I mean, we always want people to express their emotions as well. So we expect it to be a difficult time for most of our staff who will be able to attend. But let me just say as well that all our locations will be open, so we will still have the businesses open. It's not a matter that we are not empathetic, but we always say that we have a responsibility to all our clientele here in Dominica. So we will be operating. You might see a bit less staff in some of the locations. So just bear with us during the 2 hours maybe of the service, and by the afternoon, most staff would be back to work, and we would have maximum amount of people at work. So just bear with us. On Friday morning, if you do see maybe fewer staff members to assist you, but those that are there that will be there, they will try their best to be accommodative and to render the great service that we do to you. So Naomi's funeral is this coming Friday morning at 10 a.m. at the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church. Again, we at Jolly's Pharmacy, we extend our deepest condolences to her immediate family, more specifically her mother, her father, sisters, and brother, and to all her loved ones. We say, may Naomi's spirit and soul rest in peace. Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to take a short break, and then this morning we are going to be talking about caring for your mental wellness. Caring for your mental wellness. That's a topic that we're going to be exploring this morning. Stay tuned.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website, www.jollies.gm. It's your time to jump the line. Shop now at jollies.gm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Jollies.gm features rush delivery, 1 hour. In-store pickup, regular delivery, 5 p.m. Cut-off time, 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. Visit us at www.jollies.gm. Jollies Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Woke up this morning feeling risky. I had been patients to call it sick, but I end up in Jolly's Pharmacy. And don't think I treat Jolly's fix up my immune system. Me feeling fit and strong now. I'm ready to work and pick on any mission. If you see me again, Jolly's Pharmacy is number one. Jolly's again. We can't talk on everyone. Jolly's again. Boost up the immune system. Jolly's again. Yo, Dominic, it's about Father Box. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Jolly's Pharmacy, then boost me up real quick. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Depot and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
All right. So just in way of correction, it is Natalie Joseph. Natalie Joseph who did that awesome, amazing um, uh, activity. Yes, Resuscitate, which I attended on Saturday. This was really, really good. I am looking forward to next year. So we said Natalie Simon, but Natalie Simon has also is one of our people as well. So I seem to have had the two because both of them always listen to us and watch us as well. So Natalie Simon, we are truly feeling your loss. We just getting to know that it was your grandson who succumbed at the Dominica Grammar School. We truly feel your loss. And we say to you, be courageous
Mhm.
and find that peace in the arms of the Lord.
Mhm.
He is the one that gives ultimate peace. And we pray that you and your entire family, will be strong. Okay, so we're praying
Yes.
for you. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So this morning, and again, maybe that's why this topic is so relevant,
Yes, it is, Carlton.
caring
Actually,
for your mental wellness.
I see Mervin, who is on as well, said it's a
Yes.
very good topic, timely, and I agree because it seems to be a time of a lot of things going on, and
Yes.
and focusing on mental wellness
Mhm.
is critical. Is critical.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been some difficult weeks, for many families in Dominica. We've heard of, suicide, murder, suicide.
Hmm.
We've had two. So it's been real rough in terms of what's the status of our mental wellness here in Dominica, affecting both men and women, both genders. I remembered, was it last year, Dr. Wallace and I were at a function. Both of us were presenters, and she made, this very shocking um, declaration where she said, every week in Dominica, at least 7 people attempt suicide.
Hmm.
And I didn't know that. I was totally oblivious. I was shocked when she made that statement. And more and more, we're seeing the evidence that um, mental well-being, it seemed to be um, on and under attack, so to speak, under
Hmm.
attack. There are many things that are affecting our people. I mean, just yesterday, I was told of a situation where a young lady attempted suicide with pills. You know, so we're seeing the start, we're hearing the stories, and it's of major concern.
Hmm.
When we talk about mental wellness, we are really focusing on the emotional, psychological, and social factors that are affecting our mental health. How do we process things or feelings or emotions? How does our environment impacts how we behave, how we think, and how we feel?
Hmm.
Right? Um, you as an adult, you just can't get out some of the abuses that would have transpired to you as a child. You maybe were kept in a room, maybe you were left without food, maybe every time you did something wrong or your punishment was to not have a meal or to be kept in a room locked up or to be beaten badly. And even as an adult, that is still haunting you.
Hmm.
And you recognize that yet you've been trying to create and develop and foster a strong relationship, yet you just can't because you are very angry, you're very bitter, you are crying a lot, you're miserable, and you just feel trapped.
Mhm.
How do you get out of that?
Yes. And Carlton, not just that. I mean, you speak to physical abuse or maybe abandonment, but also some people or many people have been through verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and so that has long lasting impacts on them and how they navigate their world. So as you correctly said, Carlton, sometimes in terms of building and keeping relationships, people may struggle because they are still being impacted mentally by things that happened, in their past, and so certain things may trigger them. They may not know how to deal with other people properly. They may not know how to deal with disagreements or differences of opinion with someone because of how they experience life growing up. So these things are very important because we oftentimes don't even understand why we experience the difficulties that we experience, and we don't track it back a lot of times to our mental well-being and our state of mental state of mental awareness and mental health. So it's a very interesting thing to go into. And as you're speaking, Carlton, I'm sure many people might be thinking, okay, I can relate to,
Identify.
yes, I can relate to this, so I can identify that.
And the more that I as you know, I'm a huge advocate for mental health, and I see lots of people come to talk to me all the time, and I'm seeing more and more adults who are broken adults, really broken, and have tried on their own to repair the fractures. Maybe sometimes through ways that are not so healthy. So you might find that person very defensive or have an aggressive demeanor, all right? Or maybe partying a lot, or maybe on some substance abuse, to ease my meditation. And you see these things, and then one leads to the other. And when you think you are repairing, or you are curing, or you put in that you're trying to repair that fragmentation, it's actually getting wider. The gap is really getting wider. And the important thing too is, how truthful are we to ourselves when we talk about our mental health? Because oftentimes when we think of mental health, we think of the psychiatric unit, and that's all that comes to our mind. And we get scared and we get cornered, and sometimes that even puts us in a false sense of security where we deny our true feelings because of the unknown. We have this notion that, boy, I can end up there. I don't want to be there. Then people there just give people injection. But not recognizing that mental wellness encapsulates way more than that, than just the psychiatric unit, right?
Or what maybe people think of like an acute psychiatric break, or like a complete break from reality. Carlton, in reality, one of the two most common mental health disorders, and I know this from research and from also having done interviews with Dr. Wallace as well, and with psychologists. The two most common are depression and anxiety. And I just read a statistic from the American Association for Depression and Anxiety, which reads that 1 in 10 people suffer from depression and anxiety. So that means 10% of us, are walking around either with depression, either suffering from depression or experiencing depression or anxiety. Anxiety seems to be extremely common.
Very true.
Extremely common. And people mightn't be able to pinpoint the name of what they're experiencing, but I see or I hear people talk about things all the time that are anxiety I'm driven, so people worrying, people experiencing panic attacks, all these are symptoms and signs of anxiety. So these two now, depression and anxiety, they're not what people maybe consider oftentimes mental illness, because as you
Yes.
said, Carlton, people maybe think of
Mhm.
extreme
Yes.
cases, maybe schizophrenia or bipolar disorder that would get them admitted to the APU, but they don't think of these common ones like depression and anxiety that, as I said, at least based on American statistics, 10% of people are walking around with those two. I don't know what are the
That's a very good
statistics
point.
locally, but these two affect a lot of people. 10% is not a small
I know.
percentage, because
True.
if we in the room with 10 people, one of
Sure.
us
Right.
is depressed,
That's it.
or one of us has an anxiety
That's
disorder,
it.
and that's significant.
I see we have a caller. Let's take this
Mhm.
first call, as they may want to interact with us. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, morning, Carlton and youth. Great program.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Carlton, trust me, you see, I know you live in Miro, but on a Sunday morning between 6:30 and 9 o'clock, I wish one Sunday you could just take a drive and go in the vicinity of the Roseau Market, the Social Security, and by what they call it, the Green Supermarket, and you will see almost up to 15 young guys. None of them past the age of 27. So we have a particular one now. He does have a stench on him. He's blocked now. He's on the by next to at the back of the High Court there. You may be seen already between my witches wholesale at the back there now. No, Bam, I say, don't take a bath. Boy, a young man like you, how come you get mad? Yeah, him. I'm mad. He said, looking at by telling, but you see your condition. Yeah, him. 100 divided by 5, multiply by 20. So I tell him 100 divided by 5, multiply by 20. Then he started to laugh. Then he say 100 divided by 5, multiply by 5 is 100. Because remember, if you have 100 and you divide it by 5, it's 20. Multiply by 5, it's coming back to 100. I say, but plenty of them, man, is a little hand up them, man. That's one little help. We lacking a rehabilitation center and a juvenile center in Dominica. 10, 15 years back, when I was in my natural state, like I used to be running the law, you'd have young guys like 15, 14, they stop from, and if you understand, like sometimes you want them juvenile delinquents, when they get them is Operation Newspaper chances. We need a juvenile center and a rehabilitation center in Dominica. So plenty of them guys, they will just fall now to the illicit things on the streets. So we just see them and they end up at APU. And then finally, another thing, sometimes they commit some petty crime when they go to the magistrate court. The magistrate, or they send in APU for evaluation. Sometimes they're more wicked up at the APU. That is me that's saying that, yeah. They just want to go on and give them injection needed there. So sometimes it's the system that's failing the youths and them. That is why some of them crime and drugs prevalent. And finally, on our levels, you get this stuff from me, Carlton, you'll answer me what I have to put.
We'll check on that for you. Yes.
Thank you,
Have a
caller.
good morning.
Yes, that's a good
But
point.
some
Really,
good points,
rehab.
and it's something that has been advocated for the longest while. The rehabilitation center, a youth center, that type of thing. Another caller. Good
Yes.
morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, morning, Carlton.
Good morning to you, sir. Good morning.
Who are you blaming for the youth today because of that condition?
I didn't hear, please.
I say, who are you blaming for the youth that financially in that condition? Is it you to blame or somebody else to be blamed?
Well, everything begins at the home, sir. I cannot entirely blame society.
You wouldn't, sorry, if I go for the you wouldn't blame society, but the system, that is system, that is part of the system. That's why the system create. So you see the evidence. Had the system been better, they would be better.
Okay.
So getting all kind of things to put there, and the whole system has to change. Not only, unless man cannot change the system, that will be the fruits of that system.
Okay. Thank you. I can argue that and say the system has always been there.
No, but the interesting thing is who
Who
makes
create
the
the
system?
system?
It's
That's
us,
it,
the human beings,
Right,
that
makes the system.
that make the system.
Mhm.
And we and I personally don't like this context of who is to blame.
Mhm.
When you look at something, you look at all the different factors
that's
that
true.
impact it, and it's not a one one area of blame. That is where we falter,
Mhm.
because it's not a one thing. There are multiplicity of things impacting
True.
You know, and we talk in mental health, we talk in mental wellness. It's not so cut and dry. I see another one of our listeners has said that if society was kinder to people who were struggling with mental illness, then they would be more open to getting help. And this is another
That's
aspect to the whole conversation. What about empathy? What about our nature, or how do we approach
True.
people, or how do we respond to people who may be struggling? Are we empathetic?
Mm.
Do we allow people to therefore get the type of help that they require, or do we shun them? Do we laugh at them? Do we ridicule them? And is that our reaction to people? Is that the system that has to be blamed?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So there's so many things, there's so many factors that have to come into play in this conversation about mental wellness. It's really, really not a simple conversation and a one-sided conversation at all. So I like some of the feedback that we get in here.
I see we have
from our
another caller.
listeners.
Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Carlton.
Good morning to you. Can you just speak a little louder to us?
Yeah, good morning,
Thank you.
Carlton.
Good
How are
morning to you.
Good morning, Trudy. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm good.
Okay, good. Carlton, again, very good, timely discussion this morning. I'm one person, I don't like my voice to be heard on the radio too much, but the point is, I'm happy that you guys are exploring this topic this morning. And I've listened to your comments, and I've listened to some of the callers' comments. And yes, it is indeed a real and present situation people have to deal with. But Carlton, in listening to your programs, and well, no, that is not true. What I'm going to say, I just realized. But in many times I've listened to your program, and we talk about the psychological and the emotional and social impact on people's lives. Perhaps one of the things I'd like to recommend is in dealing with depression and anxiety disorders and all those things, we need to give some consideration to the role of prayer in people's lives. Okay, because while we are not saying that a fanatical or one-sided approach to dealing with these things is the answer, one cannot deny the fact that prayer has a very healthy and positive effect on mental health. Okay, it has been proven that prayer reduces stress levels and increases feelings of calmness and relaxation and promotes a sense of well-being. Okay, and so engaging in prayer allows individuals to express their concerns and their worries to a higher power while offering them a sense of release and relief. As a prayerful person, I can tell you that prayer also generates optimism. You know, it enriches interpersonal relationships and the quality of life. And it allows us to connect to something greater than ourselves. Because one of the things we have to understand in life is that there is always a higher power outside of ourselves. And if we delve into our created purpose, what we were created for, who created us, we'll realize that we are more than just flesh and blood. You know, we are people who are divinely created, fearfully and wonderfully made by the Creator for a higher and a greater purpose. So that allows us to connect with how you call it now, a greater being that helps us to understand that prayer is effective in curing all the affliction and stress and hyperactivity and depression that can happen in our lives. So, you know, and more, one of the things I realize is that in the process of human growth and development and psychological development, the psychologists say there are 5 elements to human wellness. One is the physical. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to eat well. We have to sleep. We have to rest. We have to make sure that we take care of our bodies, right? There's a social element which says we have to have healthy social interactions, okay? There's a cognitive element which says that we have to develop our minds, you know? There's the emotional element that says, well, okay, we have to be in tune with, we have to take care of our emotional. But there is also the part that says we have to have great spirit, we have to be spiritually grounded. One of the things I find with a lot of people in Dominica is that they pursue the physical. They go to the gym, they play sports, They will take care of their hair, their nails, their face, their bodies. They'll buy new clothes and those kind of things there. Okay? They will go out and do the social. They always partying, they drinking, they socializing. And sometimes that is one of the surprises we get because we see people always happy. Next thing they do things. There is the emotional. You have to have somebody to love. You have to have a significant other. People pursue those things. But some people feel if they're not in love, they are nobody. If you have a man or woman in their life, they are nothing. You know, there are some people who think that way. But at the heart of it all, we have to realize that we have to have that divine ordered relationship with our Maker, and to let us know that there's nothing that is out of this world that can crush us. Romans tells us that nothing can separate us from the love of God. Ephesians tells us we can do everything through Christ who strengthens us. There are many verses in Scripture that are comforting, that are inspiring, that are strengthening for anyone who's going through things. And one of the things in counseling, research has shown that the most effective form of counseling is Christian counseling. Having said so, allow me to give a word of caution. Not everybody who is a pastor or a priest in a church is a trained counselor. Okay?
True.
I've heard people say they're counseling people. Counseling is a process. It's not a one-time act. It's not advising people either. And I've seen the danger of many times of people telling me, for instance, they go to a counselor. Who's the counselor? And that person is not trained in counseling. That person is an elder in the church. That person is a married person. No, counseling is a process that goes into deep within and the heart of what is happening to you, and you have a guide as somebody who helping you out of it. That is counseling. So, I mean, that is just a caveat to many people who say, okay, they're going for counseling, they're going for, sometimes not even going to prayer to somebody is the right thing to do, because there's some people who pray and there's some people who pray. There's prayer and praying. You understand what I'm telling you? And sometimes praying can give more hype and anxiety. We come against, more provoking a certain level of fear. As I've often tell people, if when you're praying with me, first thing you're doing is you come against, you're more recognizing the devil than God, because God is more powerful than the devil. You understand? There's some people before they start to pray, I come against. Come against what? First of all, recognize the Almighty, recognize the power of the Almighty, recognize the grace of God, the omniscience, the omnipresence, the all-powerful God that you serve. Because when you believe in the all-powerful God that you serve, nothing can come against you, nothing can fight you. You know, so you have to recognize that we are children of God, that we are divinely made and divinely ordered. God has a plan and a purpose for us, which would be our inner strength and inner core. And to recognize as well that in life, we go through trauma, we go through difficulties, we go through hard times, we go through things that can crush us and kill us and bring us down. But for the grace of God, but for the belief in the power of prayer, but in the knowledge of knowing that Christ has died for you and saved you, but in the ability to discern that even in your darkest moment, God is trying to speak to you and to find out what is He saying to me in this moment in life. What is God trying to teach me? How is He trying to guide me? What is my discernment process? I may be going through hard times, but could be God is telling me that my wants are greater than my needs. You know, I might be going through a certain level of isolation, but could it be God is telling me I'm seeking too much friendship, I'm seeking too much to be recognized and approved? You know what I mean? I am going through a hard time, but could it be I am pursuing too much material things, you know? I am lonely, I'm not married, but could it be I'm running too much behind man and woman? You know, that kind of thing to cause me depression. There are women who do that. Even though they get a man and a certain man, they're doing all kind of nonsense and they're going through depression. No. So the power of prayer leads to brings us to a level of discernment of allowing God to enter into our lives and into our situation and to open us up to the possibilities of what our life story is leading us to understand what is He trying to tell us at this stage of life. So
Very good.
it's important to understand the element of prayer. Prayer is very important. And Carlton, too many people in Dominica are not going to church and pray. The guy a while ago talked about going by the bayfront, but you get up on a Sunday morning, the gardens, Lindo Park, every football field is full of young men on basketball, football. I'm not saying they're not praying at their home, but even going to church sometimes has a calming effect. You know, even going to church sometimes bring you into a presence of other people who strengthen you and give you things. And there are a lot of young people, many of our students going to school. Their parents don't encourage them to pray and to go to church.
Because when you go to a school, you are encountering an environment of hundreds of other students. You do not know what they are carrying. So people need to bring themselves back to a level of worship, of prayer, of centering on God. And I find Dominica is a place we have Siwo. Every weekend is a Siwo and a bacchanal and a noise and a rum and a this. And what are people running behind? Where is the joy coming from? Where is their satisfaction coming from? What are they pursuing in life to make them happy? Perhaps they might be pursuing the wrong things. And sometimes in your solace and in your solitude and in your own aloneness, that might be the happiest place to be as you reflect on your state in life and how really you can become a whole person, a restored person, a person with a certain deep sense of joy, satisfaction, and above all, contentment of where you are in life.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your views. I think it was well received. The comments are already endorsing it.
Yes.
Yeah, many people are giving comments on what you've just said. Well
The
said.
power of prayer and I guess yes, Carlton, and an interesting point. I see we do have more people trying to get on, but we will entertain them very shortly.
Yes.
Yes, but yes, Carlton, a point that was raised too is the approaching people for counsel that are trained or suited to do so. So discernment in terms of as well, who do you go to for help? That point came through in what the caller said, and I also think that is worthy of note. Sometimes we get more into a particular problem if we are not seeking help from the right source. So I think that is also important. This aspect of counseling, Carlton, I know we've spoken about it often on the show as well. The majority of the caller's point was as it relates to prayer, the power of prayer, the power of spirituality, and being grounded in a higher power. But that sub point, I didn't want to let that disappear as well. That there also is the need to be discerning when you seek help, and make sure that you are getting it from a trained professional in that arena. I see we have more calls, Carlton.
Yes, we're taking this one. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Carlton, it's me again. I want to put Simeon on the spot, knowing the kind of a person he is. Next week, Wednesday, I believe the hour and a half, we need Simeon as the guest. Because that man, I can listen to him, Andy Jolly and Dr. Dion George all day, every day, all year, 465 days, 466 days when he's a little. So we need Simeon Joseph on the show next week, Wednesday. And I'll be calling you after the program when you go in the office. Bye-bye.
All right. Yes.
Yes, Carlton.
And he spoke about the absence of spiritual wellness in the whole quest to attain and maintain mental health. And as you know, we mind, body, and spirit. And he was talking about the importance how prayer actually brings you in a place of solitude. It deepens your peace, and it gives you that assurance, that hope through faith that tomorrow will be better. Let's take this call. Good morning to you, caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Carlton, I sent you a message on your phone, but I can still check it after.
Okay.
I'm in the issue of mental health. Carlton, I'm going to tell you, I am not a trained psychologist. What I am is a good listener. And I feel sometimes because with my friends or the person that I associate with, I feel at a level they do not need a counselor. You need a listening ear. You need a shoulder to cry on. You need a check-in every day or every other day. You need a hello. You need a hi. You need a come, let's have an ice cream. Come, let's have a drink. And I've been like that. And to tell you the truth, it has helped me as an individual. It has helped my friends. And I can tell you, because the issue, I cannot say the issue is not at a level for counselors. I'm not a trained counselor, remember that. But I am telling you, just being there And I think I was born gifted because of that, because I was born rich in a leap year on Easter Sunday. So I tend to be very gifted. If person say that, I listen very well. I talk a lot less and I listen. And I can tell you over the years, more than 20, I can say almost 40 years of doing that with my friends, it has worked. So I feel sometimes too, it's not all about counseling because sometimes even when you get good counseling, you get stale. That alone puts you in a state of mental health, not in a good way, in a negative way. So I am feeling that we need to listen. I am calling out on friends to listen. These friends are not acquaintances and drinkers and partiers. These friends check up, listen, spend time with your friends. You understand? That's my take on mental health, Carlton. Have a good day.
Have a good day too. But I wanted to kind of one of the points that you made is all about the socialization process. Who are our friends? Do we truly have friends? The people that are around us, are they really friends? Do we they are around us, but can we trust them? Do we feel that closeness to them where we can be open and we can be naked? And that's why it's very important to forge great, healthy friendships. And a lot of the times we don't make time to do that. You meet somebody today or you had a good dialogue and immediately, or you might exchange some contact on social media and you immediately classify the person as your friend. But how many people that are around you that you can see that can be a lifeline to you? That in the darkest hour of the night, you can call this person and the person will not judge you and the person will not be angry that you called and that person will be able to listen to you. And if needs that the person have to jump in their vehicle and drive to your home and spend the rest of the night or whatever hour with you, do you have that type of connection? And how do we foster these types of deep connections? Because it would seem that it's not easy to develop these types of relationships. I'm not too sure if it's a case where the culture has changed. It's a case where we don't make the time to do so. I'm not too sure if it's the content of communication in terms of what it takes to really establish that type of relationship. So, for example, guys may be part of a domino team or club and they assemble practically 5 days a week to play dominoes and they might express certain things that's happening to them. How many members on that domino table will actually take them serious and may pull them aside privately and continue the dialogue and try to see if they can bring a redress help to the situation? Or do most people on that domino table would begin to jeer and laugh and make fun out of the whole thing? And that's what we're talking about, the mood of communication. How do we differentiate between serious and jovial or what not so serious? And how do we have dialogue with people without being prejudicial, without judging? And that's one of the major um, hurdles in mental health. People always feel that they're trapped. Who am I going to talk to? Will they listen? Will they judge me? Will my business be known next day? That type of thing. And oftentimes we don't recognize that dialogue, especially when it comes to these types of deep dialogue, it begins with our eyes before you even say a word. Because I could almost tell if somebody is really empathetic and I can feel that inner safe connection with the person because your eyes can actually show if you're going to be prejudicial or if you might be judging your facial expressions and all of these things. So when we hear that person may have succumbed due to suicide, and all of us would be like, boy, Ella, I know the boy so well, but he could come and talk to me, but he could have come. Could he really have come and spoken to you? Are you really prepared? Let's say he had come and speak to you. Would you be prepared?
Mm.
How would you dissect the information? How would you deal with the information? What type of support would you propose to him?
Mm.
Would you, for example, if the need arises where he had to go to the hospital and get a mental evaluation, would you be willing to drive him to the hospital and even wait while he's being assessed, wait on the outside or wherever it is to support him? And that's what we're talking about. So the mental
Time.
well-being, it's a lot, and it really takes everyone
Mm.
rallying together in a tangible manner to
Mm.
bring support.
Because I want to comment on this particular area. The caller mentioned being a listening ear and friendship, and you have continued, Carlton, by kind of going into the quality of friendship that might be available to all of us. What I feel is that in this current fast-paced world where we're so technologically advanced and everything is moving much faster than before, that type of quality that you maybe aspire for in terms of friends and having time and having that type of support and that type of presence, it is becoming more and more rare. And that is a reality. That is a fact. People are moving in such a way that, and I guess it's just based on development. Essentially, everybody's life is busy. They have 10,000 things to do. And that type of time, Carlton, that you just mentioned, would you have the time or would you give the time to listen to the person or to drive them to somewhere or to make yourself physically available for them? We see that that is a rarity in friendships. And that is why I want to come back on another aspect. That is why there are trained professionals to be present for people when they do not have that network of support. So one thing I want to mention, the caller said, sometimes when people even hear the word counseling, they get afraid, and that is more destructive to their mental health than anything else. So they should rely, or they can rely on friends. But I would love for us to move away from that being a fearful concept, the concept of seeking trained help, because it is what can save many. That is what can save many people. You know what I mean? Because the friendship and the type of presence that they require might just not be there.
True.
Might just not be there. And Carlton, you were speaking, and I'm there thinking to myself, for real, how many people are that type of friend to somebody else? And if we take an audit of ourselves and our friendships and our behavior, how many people are we truly present for? Present. Presence is a thing that is so rare. I'm telling you. And I'm seeing it more, for instance, with younger people. Like, for instance, you'll see, let's say there are people taking part in something, and you would think, oh, well, their friend should come out and support them, or their friend should. And that's not the case at all. You will see people come and it's them and them alone. They have friends, but the friends are not making the time to come to
Not
be
priority.
there for them at that particular moment. And I see that all the time. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's getting worse in the younger and younger generations. That's what I see. So I really want to say, or to focus on this aspect of us not shunning or being fearful of trained support. Sometimes it is necessary. It is necessary for somebody to seek somebody that is trained to assist them when they're going through a particular struggle.
I think now that you've said that, it brings me even to my own self. I was at a workplace this morning giving a talk on mental wellness, and I was saying to them that if you look at me now, maybe you would never guess so, but when I was in my late 20s, maybe early 20s, even late 30s, I was a very insecure person. In the sense that I would get very flustered. So, for example, If I would, let's say I had a particular shirt on, I left the house with it, and when I get to the place, you tell me, why all the shit that shit ugly, eh, boy? Right away, I'm flustered. I lose interest in the in where I had in the party. I want to go home and change. That was how I was, and I realized it's many people go through that, and it's really all of this is it has to do with self awareness, and so it brings to the question: do we truly know ourselves?
Mm.
Do we truly know ourselves? And if we were to shed our clothes off and stand right in front of a mirror, and take a pen and paper and write what we see about ourselves, what would really be that edition?
Mm.
And how comfortable are we for ourselves? Because there are people, they just cannot spend 2 seconds on their own.
Mm.
Oh, I'm so bored. Oh, I restless. Let me see one liner. Let me
Yes.
see that kind of a thing.
Yes.
Like they just don't know what it is to relax and to find peace and to just be in your own company where you can assess yourself, you can learn certain things, you can shed certain things off, you can add certain things, and that takes a lot.
Mm.
So that is one of the ways you can care for your mental health, by really getting refamiliar or familiar with yourself. How do you do that? You really want to create a wellness environment. Who do you surround yourself with? Because a lot of us, really and truly, we have a lot of empty people around us who really and truly doesn't have anything much to, sort of nothing to pour into us that will take us on a next level. And we have to do that. I think for me, the older I get, like really and truly. Well, for me, most of my dear friends, I've had them for over 20 years. And that's a fact. Over 20 years. And they have not changed. That has not changed. So it's how do you find and how do you create that wellness environment, that environment where you feel that when I call Trudy, we don't have time for small talk. We talk big vibes. We talk stuff. Not about who was coming out at that person home that time and you're on that level. So people that can really deposit positive into you, that when you have done that, when you that conversation has ended, you leave fortified, you leave empowered, you leave strengthened. But again, to the content of the conversation. How do we learn it? How do we develop it? And the mood of conversation as well, because through then I have these conversations all the time that so many people that we see on the road, when it comes to relationship, they just don't know how to communicate. And you would think that
Communication is
person
poor.
really maybe know how to, they just don't know. So how do we change the narration? You understand? So creating that wellness environment that you can say to myself, what if, how would I deal with, for example, losing a child? I pray that I don't lose one, but what how would that what how do I prepare? You may not never know how to really prepare, but do you ever think, like, just sit and, not something to make you sad, but to just almost think of, because life is like that, you don't know what's coming next.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's coming next, and that thing can just throw you down so bad that maybe you just cannot even pick up yourself again. How do you do, what type of support do you have in play
Mm-hmm.
that if this were to occur, who do I run to? Who do I converse to? What's my spiritual basis like? You understand? So when we talk about the environment, we're not merely just talking about the physical environment. We're talking about the cultural, the social environment, who you surround yourself with, and what do they deposit
Mhm.
into your life.
And Carlton, I want to interject on this point where if your mental, you're calling it like your mental wellness environment,
Mhm.
if you do a deep reflection and
Mhm.
you find that the environment is faulty,
Mhm.
don't be afraid to change the
True.
environment, because sometimes
True.
you say, some of us, out of loyalty,
Mm.
this is this is who I have been around
Mm.
since Lane Kanai
Mhm.
and whatever. But you do notice that you being in that particular group, it makes you feel down, or some of the comments that are maybe made are not uplifting to you, and you
Mhm.
really feel like you're in a headspace that it's no longer healthy for you to be amongst those particular people.
Mhm.
I think it is as a matter of fact, I think that it is healthiest to know when you have to pull away from certain environments and recreate a mentally good environment for
True.
yourself, so knowing when to pull away. Because I notice sometimes people, as I said, out of loyalty, oh well, is those but the people are maybe going in on a different path that you yourself,
Mhm.
you're not on that path. You may be on a path of um professional upliftment. You're
Mhm.
on a path of spiritual
Growth.
awareness
Mhm.
and growth,
Mhm.
and the people are not moving in that same
Mhm.
path. So
Mhm.
don't be afraid to change your environment if it's not suiting your mental
Mhm.
wellness needs.
True.
Don't be afraid.
So, like the same person that wants to take you to every party and every fete and tell you, let's go, let's go, let's go, are they paying? Where's that money going to? When you come from the fete, what happens then?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you have a little, you have all this fun, but where is all this money? That money now
It's
is
true.
gone.
It's
And then
true.
you think of what, if this person truly want to see me grow and
Yeah.
develop, is this what that's all the friendship is about?
It's true. Yeah, you might be on a path of trying to better your finances to get financially stable. You want to buy a house, or you want to have property, and the company that you keep in is just allowing you to waste.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to change the environment. I like the point about the environment, Carlton, but I just wanted to interject that
That's
sometimes the environment
yeah,
needs to change.
true.
It needs to
That's
change.
true.
You have to change it.
Another thing that we want to do, and and I find many of us are afraid of that, and that is spending good time with yourself.
Mhm.
Spending good time with yourself. What is a good time with yourself? What does that mean
Hmm.
to spend good time with yourself? And what are you planning to achieve from that spending time? And some of us were afraid of silence. We're afraid of silence. It some way somehow, I don't know. It makes us bored, or we feel a bit anxious. But silence sometimes says a lot, and we can actually listen rather than hear in silence. And so it's not. Don't be. Don't feel like you are waku if you want to spend some time by yourself and with yourself. And it doesn't matter
I
whether you're in
know.
a relationship,
Yeah.
because there are times you just need that
Whether
time,
you're in a
that me time.
relationship or whether you have
Yeah,
children,
yeah.
you still need, some time and some self-reflection. Carlton, often people say, oh, I can never go to a thing by myself, or go to eat
Yeah.
by myself, or go to the movies by
Mhm.
myself. But that's fine.
That is
Yeah,
fine.
take yourself somewhere and be by yourself.
That is fine. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
What people understand, in silence, there's a lesson yet to be learned. See, when you're in silence, you're in your inner peace.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know that, they're not aware of that. There's a lesson that is yet to be learned in silence. There's a lesson, but you have to learn that lesson correctly.
Thank you, caller.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's
Mhm.
true. That is true.
Really establishing good social connection network.
Hmm.
And that is another thing that is my best friend is Aldrian Otley. He's from St. Kitts. I met Aldrian in 1998 when I moved to St. Kitts. We're in 2025 and we're still best friends. He left St. Kitts, moved to Jamaica, works in Jamaica, has been in Jamaica for 10 years. And don't matter, even though we've not spoken, maybe we've not spoken a month or whatever, whenever that call comes, it's
Mhm.
like as though we spoke yesterday.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
connection remains. And that is what you really want. You want to have real good network, good connection. And what I'm seeing though is that many people, they have associates, they have acquaintances, they may have people around them, but they don't have a true
A true
connection.
connection. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
suffer in
Mhm.
silence.
And you have to thank God when you have, a
Yeah.
true connection, yeah, because it's something that not everyone has. So if you are fortunate to have a true connection, a true friend, a true network that you can rely on, you really have to give thanks because a lot of people are isolated in that regard. So that is something you truly, truly, truly have to be thankful for, and also understand that you are fortunate if you are blessed to have that true connection, as you put it, Carlton.
So you basically stole my next point. Living gratitude.
Gratitude.
Show gratitude.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
Yeah.
one. I talk about that all the time, so I guess that is why I stole it.
Yes. Show gratitude. A lot of the times, we, and I will say too that when I turned the 50, it was an amazing time for me. I did not feel old. I actually felt wiser. It prompted me to make better life decisions. It prompted me to spend more time with my family, not just spend time in the house, but really have deep conversations. So last night we had our family meeting and we were talking about mental health. And I was asking each of the children, about their state of mental health and how even our parenting skills, how has it impacted their mental health? And these are things that I didn't read it from a textbook. I just learned to develop these things, healthy relationships, and so to me, as I get older, I'm realizing these are the things that I prioritize on. These are the things that makes me happy. These are the things that I want to indulge more in, and so forth. So and these are the things that will really bring that gratification that you're looking for. Not the nice clothes. Yes, it's nice to have a nice outfit to put on and so forth. It's nice to have a nice vehicle that can take you from here to there. But when you develop and you establish these deep connections, it propagates. It propagates, it germinates what you always wanted, especially if you have children in your children. That later on when they become adults, they know how to foster and develop healthy relationships.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I see we have some people trying to get us, Carlton. Let's
Yes.
take a call. Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Carlton and Shudi.
Good morning to you,
How
caller.
are you?
We're doing
Very
well.
good topic. I'm listening. But I always say I'm a senior citizen. I like to say that. Carlton and Shudi, let me tell you, see what Simeon said about spirituality. That is very important. I'll tell you, well, everybody is not the same. You have some weak people, you have some stuff. So all of us are not the same. I worked in the public service. When you work in the public service, especially your supervisor, to correct people that one do thing, they bring in best, they bring in. I sure you're aware of those type of things. And then some of my workers used to tell me, but how are you dealing with that? No, you're not worrying with that. I used to tell them because you can't talk from now till next year, Carlton and Trudy. That not bother. You know what you secret? I used to tell them, Christ helped a lot of people. And the same people he helped, Carlton and Trudy, they turn on you, they say things on you. So I say, well, who am I for people not to say things on me? And Carlton and Trudy, you can talk from now till next year. Since I know I'm innocent or I'm trying to help you, it don't bother me at all. Probably that's how I am. But my spirituality, when you spoke about, you have to be deep in that. You understand? And as a senior right now, I know who my friends are. Now you haven't got a lot of good friends, but if anything, I have a problem, I really know who are my friends, really my
Mm-hmm.
friends. So that spirituality thing there, that's very good. And it grown. And then I used to tell them, try that. If anybody tell you anything or say anything or bring a bear for one to, belittle you, just remember that Christ did a lot for people because some people you get jobs for Carlton and Judy, they turn on you, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I used to tell my coworkers. So everybody's different, and in this morning.
Self-confidence. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Thank you. And so, truly, I suspect that topic, everybody is so passionate about it. We're seeing the need for these types of discussions
Mhm.
more and more. And you'd recognize too that when you have these types of conversations or dialogues, some way, somehow, it projects that calmness, that empathy. Particularly for me, I'm very passionate about mental health. I've always said to people, if you listen to any of my programs, my show, and you might be experiencing something, you feel that you are at your wits' end, you feel like giving up, you can come to speak to me in my office. I will try my best to lead you to the right people, because I every time I hear somebody succumb to the act of suicide, it really digs something to me. I am still pushing for a suicide hotline. We do need a suicide hotline. I am still pushing for a mental health or uh, clinic, in the sense that the same way we have the legal aid, where we
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
people can walk in for a free consultation on legal matter, the very same thing can be done for somebody who is going through a mental health issue, that it is accessible to them. Because a lot of the times people say, oh, who do I speak to? I don't know nobody. Oh, I cannot afford counseling. So
Right.
this
The
is something
price.
that I have been advocating for,
Mhm.
that we have, whether it's an NGO, whether it's people that have been trained that want to set up a system like that, whereby if it's 3 times a week or whatever it is, they're in a particular location, maybe if you have free offices or so, where people can just walk in and get to
Get
vent,
that service.
get
Yeah.
that service. That is something I'm really passionate about. And as I said, the suicide hotline, it is something that we really, really need. We need to put it different parts of the island. Somebody is feeling away, they can call that number at any time of day, any time of day, and somebody will be able to answer and be able to assist them. These are things that are needed. Um, it is important. We might say, well, we don't really have a major problem, but we don't want to just look at numbers. We want to look at, we not many of us don't even know of the attempts, because there are many more attempts than people who actually succeeded. So let's really try to reduce those numbers. Let us try to focus on our mental and emotional health, and let us do everything in our power to ensure, one, we don't lose hope, two, that we develop our faith, and three, that we continue to build courage. That we continue to build courage. There are many things that are around us that are affecting us each day that can really make us feel hopeless. But how can you thrive? How can you live? How can you exist among these things and still don't lose hope?
Mhm.
So if you're feeling down and you're feeling like giving up, don't lose hope. There is always a better day. Just think of, maybe you would have gone through a tough time, maybe losing a loved one. And even before the person died, you may have said to yourself, boy, how would I ever live without my mother? And you realize 20 years since your mom has passed and you have survived and you've done well. So nature has a way of giving us the fortitude and the agility to soar. the very same thing. Who we are, our faith, our courage. Faith, courage builds faith, and faith builds hope. So as we leave, we want to say to you, do not lose hope. Do not lose hope. You are wonderfully made, and you are born because you were worthy to be born. As always, your health is indeed your greatest resource. Preserve it. Have a good morning, everybody, and continue to enjoy the remainder of the week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m.